Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Monday, April 22nd, 2024 was the first day of Passover, and the focus in all of mainstream media was the dubbed anti-Semitic protests at Ivy League schools, Columbia, Yale, NYU. And again, I mean, if you're watching the news coverage with your own eyes, you're seeing protesters hold up signs that say things like, "Stop the genocide in Gaza." And then you're seeing a news commentator like a Sean Hannity with that protester zoomed in explaining how, people need to cut funding to that school. Look at that horribly anti-Semitic sign. It's like, stop genocide in Gaza. Again, tens of thousands of people are dead in Gaza because of an attack on October 7th that reportedly took the lives of a lot of people. And again, if a lot of people's lives are destroyed, then that gives another nation the right to kill multiples more. I mean, this is the story the mainstream's presenting. But again, it'd be nice if Sean Hannity could look into what we're talking about, how we predicted the war in Israel almost a year in advance, the day Netanyahu came back, and nailed almost nearly to the day when the war would start. We said the day Netanyahu came back, 12/29/2022, why it would start around the time that Yale turned 322 years old, which was October 9th. Understanding what really runs this nation. These universities that are older than this nation, they are the recruitment centers and the breeding grounds for the agendas that really do have a stranglehold on this nation. But yeah, this was high ritual yesterday, these protests on the 113th day of the year. Again, we've been talking about the long time pattern of obviously forced protests to bring about an agenda so the media can have a talking point that's totally disingenuous. Shout out to Lincoln Karam, who's out on the streets of New York at Columbia right now interviewing students, and almost everyone's like saying, I haven't really seen anything anti-Semitic with my own eyes. I see the way the news is covering it, but I haven't seen an actual problem on campus. Again, we know what this news media is. It's a nonstop noise-making machine that's always creating the story. Not reporting on actual stories, but creating the story, creating the narrative, creating the mind control for the populace. They want you to think that it's anti-Semitic to hold up a sign that says, "Stop the genocide in Gaza." That's not anti-Semitic. That's compassion for people who are being killed in an area that's been open-air prison for decades. This news media we have, you guys, that's conditioned the minds of so many people, it is sick. I mean, it's just been this sick. This news media has just been a horribly evil, disgusting thing for really all of our lifetimes, but especially in the 21st century. It's just like after 9/11. If you question the events of 9/11, you were a bad person. If you didn't put a yellow ribbon on your car and support the endless killing of brown people in the Middle East, you were a bad person. It's the exact same thing today. Stop the genocide in Gaza is anti-Semitism? Again, all reasonable Jewish people should be speaking out against this. This is how hatred is created for religious groups. Because there is a sentiment that the media is controlled by Jewish people. And then when you see the media cramming down your throat that you're anti-Semitic because you want to stop a genocide in Gaza, again, this is how it happens. But like I continue to teach about, you have to understand who's really pulling the strings on all this. Who's making the mass protests happen on the 113th day of the year. Again, it's very simple to understand when you have enough information and you have the right information. Again, we're on the Jesuit orders calendar. We're speaking the Jesuit orders English language standardized with the 26-letter alphabet. How the Jesuits did these things at the end of the 16th century, and the Jesuits have been dominating this world through manipulation and divisiveness and politics and murder and ritualism. The Jesuits have been building their world order one day at a time with rituals like this, and they love to hold out the Jews like a shield, like a Rothschild, to make it look like it's the Jews who are manipulating everything, and they're the ones, that create these storylines. And to an extent, there are some people definitely that are Jewish in the Jesuit camp, but still, it's the Jesuits who are doing this, which are the military order of the Catholic Church. And again, it's just undeniable. Go back to my old work and look at 113 in protests. We've been talking about this stuff for a long time, like almost 10 years now. But yesterday, April 22nd, was the 113th day of the leap year, and Gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words, which is traditionally Jewish, but again, this system was put in place by the Jesuits of the Catholic Church, who gave us the calendar and did it all in the same moment in history. Protest is 113. In the most simple cipher, ABC is 1, 2, 3. If you're new here, there's 4 ciphers of the English language. We're going to look at how important Columbia University was to this ritual, who got the majority of attention on this day. Yale also got attention, so did NYU, but it was mostly Columbia. Again, Columbia, where Barack Obama went to school, and we're going to talk about how connected this is to Obama, the made-for-TV political actor they put in there for the political theater after 9/11 and all the fear-mongering against Islam. Again, it was almost a decade of Osama, Saddam Hussein, and then we get Barack Hussein Obama. I mean, just straight-up mockery, but we're going to bring it all together here. Again, Columbia University, 113, just like protests. So this is the big focus on the 113th day of the year. And again, it's easy for the cabal to put out the flyer everywhere and get the buzz out there everywhere and have the media focus on it so that more people participate, more students come out, more students know about it. You know, if I show up in New York City and I say, hey, we're having the Truth Seeker gathering at Columbia University, I mean, how many people do we gather? Maybe 100 if we're lucky. We don't get any media attention. Nobody's buzzing about this. Again, the point to understand is how the cabal keeps the eye of the world on everything that they want focused on in their Kabbalistic rituals day after day. Columbia University also has the Gematria 248. The Illuminati will turn 248 May 1st. The United States will turn 248 on July 4th. And remember last year you had some mega 247 rituals on the Illuminati's 247th birthday, the U.S.'s 247th birthday. Remember, the Illuminati since May 1st, 1776. Last year on May 1st, 1776, the 76ers were a 13.5-point underdog, and they had a big upset of the Celtics that was all about the 247s. It was free money for us. And again, we're going to get to what they did last night in the NBA, how all of this stuff connects. Your rigged NBA, controlled by the same people who control your rigged news. We're going to get to the beautiful Passover rituals they had in the NBA. If you watched our Patreon live streams and then watched the games, you know, we had a flawless day in the NBA again. We're off to a flawless 7-0 start in the NBA, taking advantage of the rigged games for the playoffs. But anyhow, Columbia University also 85. Now remember how important this number is to what's going on in Israel. The war began October 7th, the day leaving 85 days left in the year, the anniversary of us invading Afghanistan. Remember, from the war in Russia-Ukraine to the war in Israel with Gaza, in the 85th week, from the start of Russia-Ukraine to the start of Israel-Gaza, that happened in the 85th week since. On the day leaving 85 days left in the year, the Jesuit-controlled United Nations intervenes finally in Israel-Gaza on the 85th day of this year. Remember what 85 is. The word Templar is 85. So is the Jesuit motto, Isus Hominum Salvator, 85. These things go back to the Catholic Church like Columbia. Again, the Jesuits, their logo is the Templar cross, the letters IHS for Isus Hominum Salvator, 85. Yesterday they brought on Robert Kraft, Columbia alumni. Got to run that rigged NFL franchise, the Patriots, in the time of 9/11 and the Patriot Act. Got to lie to the people and be on the camera and be the greatest owner there ever was through the big script. But Robert Kraft saying he's no longer going to give any money to Columbia because of the anti-Semitism. Again, my point is this guy's just been a scripted part of all these fake, contrived narratives meant to shake up the world, divide the world for all this time. And now they got to bring him back as an old man. Talk about, he just can't believe what he's seeing. Oh, I mean, these are the people who are responsible for it. He should have came out years ago and said, American people, wake up. You're being lied to. Your news is rigged. Your politics is rigged. Trust me, I've seen it on the inside of Columbia. Our Patriots games are rigged. Yeah, he didn't come out and say any of that. He's been enjoying the script, the wealth, the fame that comes from it. So anyway, he's not gonna give him any more alumni money. understand, a lot of these guys are just actors on the world stage doing what they're told. Hey, Robert, cut the check for... Remember how they hired Gerard Mayo for their new coach by the numbers? And again, Kraft, food brand, it's real mayo on the... All this stuff's a big joke. Heinz Ward at Heinz Field. Jerry Rice in San Francisco, where Rice-A-Roni's the San Francisco treat. Again, all this stuff is a mockery of our existence, and most people just do not catch on because they're on that go yum level, if you know what I mean. Read that article about how 7-Eleven was named with Gematria, and they have the go yum food products, which is a lot like Goyim. But anyway, Robert Kraft graduated from Columbia in 1963. So they're making a big point about this last night on Hannity, that he graduated there in 1963, how the world has changed. I started thinking, Barack Hussein Obama is about to turn 63 this year. And we all know what happened to Kennedy in 1963, where the nation was very divided over a emerging war that the U.S. might become more involved with, Vietnam. So we're going to bring it all together. And who remembers when Tom Brady became 6-3 in Super Bowls in his 307th game, which is the 63rd prime in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which equals 307. And, of course, that's very German, very Nazi-ish. The Ashkenazis, the Nazis, us just giving all that money to Ukraine and Israel on Hitler's birthday anniversary when the Jews in Europe came from Ashkenazi land, Khazaria, where Ukraine and Russia is today. Again, most people aren't aware of any of this because they don't know anything about anything. They don't see the mockery every day by the numbers. I noticed that 37 years after he graduated from there in 2000, Columbia opened the Kraft Center for Jewish Students. It's funny that it's 37 years later because Patriots equals 37, and they got Tom Brady that year, and then they had 1,037 rituals with Tom Brady. Barack Obama graduated from Columbia in 1983. He's about to hit the 41st anniversary, so he's at 40 years and change right now. We'll get to why that matters. But look at this protest at Columbia. On the 263rd day of Obama's age, the 56th prime number, the man who won the 56th U.S. presidential election. Remember, Black Lives Matter equals 56, like Society of Jesus, like Washington, D.C. It goes back to the 56 signers on the Declaration of Independence. Barack Hussein Obama, the man with the Muslim name, just days after Ilhan Omar's daughter, who is Muslim, is arrested at Columbia. And remember this 56 ritual from Ilhan Omar's daughter's birthday, February 22nd, to her arrest April 18th, was 56 days later. On the 110th day of the leap year, it was the big news story, her arrest. Her name's 110 the big way, 56 the small way. You know, it's been 56 years since we got the first black female congressperson from Columbia. Netflix just put out the show about her on the Ides of March, a very Roman day. Ides of March 56. Again, that happened in 1968 with Shirley Chisholm, the year of the MLK assassination. Ides of March, Washington, D.C., Society of Jesus, all 56. But yes, this protest that has everything to do with religion. Again, you guys, it's an ongoing script with the same numbers, like what we've been talking about the whole time. How we're living out a planned script that's meant to destroy us through division, through war, through fear. Barack Hussein Obama. Like, I just couldn't believe that people were so dumb to not see the big joke of Obama and getting the nation's first black president. It's number 44 years after the Civil Rights Act, when hope equals 44 and African American, and MLK was killed on 4-4, and Malcolm X was killed on 44 date numerology. But again, Obama, just like, it just showed you how racist people were. This was like a different form of racism, just voting for a candidate based on the color of his skin and not looking into how empty his rhetoric was. And you can read my old blog post on my old website from back then about how Obama was a complete fraud. And I wasn't advocating for John McCain, far from it. I was just saying, like, this Obama guy might as well be George W. Bush. I mean, I literally can't tell the difference between him and his voting record and this administration. This guy's for big corporation. He's for environmental disaster cover-up. He's for everything. He was a total New World Order candidate, and then he came in and escalated the war. Remember, when Obama came in, the Democrats got the Oval Office, both houses of Congress, the House and the Senate, and Court was pretty liberal back then. They had everything, the Democrats, and they escalated the wars that they said they were going to end. Well, Obama never said he was going to end them, and I was pointing that out. Obama was always mum on everything. But, yeah, they escalated them. They made them even more profound, more bombings, more drones. But, yeah, Barack Hussein Obama. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, it's just like, are we brain dead, America? Are we brain dead? Barack Hussein Obama is the name of the candidate after they've been scaring you with Osama and Saddam Hussein. I mean, it's just like unbelievable mockery. Not as bad, though, as Obama on the campaign trail for months saying that we cannot let this immunity for telecommunications companies pass. It'll violate our constitutional rights. And I'm a constitutional lawyer. He kept saying it over and over and over and over and over and over. And then the day it came time to vote, he went against his total campaign rhetoric and voted for immunity. And I just thought, how can anyone possibly vote for this guy? I mean, how can you vote for him? For months he's been saying we cannot let that happen, and then he votes for it? Okay, I mean, what's he stand for? But yeah, again, I knew back then just literally some stupid actor, just like the Bushes, just like all these dumbasses they put in there. Now we got the orange, overgrown apprentice, the old senile man. It just gets dumber and dumber as time goes on. It's just so annoying, though. But look how perfect it is, you guys. Just this protest that has a lot to do with religion and Islam. And, oh, my God, I can't believe they're supporting the radical Islamic terrorists out there. But on the 263rd day of Obama's age, the 56th prime for the man who won the 56th election, and again, just days after the Ilhan Omar ritual, 56 days after her birthday. And I mean, do I need to go back to March 26th? Have we already forgotten from the United States of amnesia what happened on Pelosi's birthday on 26/3 with the 56-meter clearance bridge? And Pelosi's from Baltimore, part of this Catholic Jesuit longtime fraternity. And what Robert Kennedy Jr. did that day with the 263-56 ritual, just complete mockery with his VP nominee that he announced that day. It's just the assassination scare for RFK Jr. last summer in L.A. where his father was killed 263 days before 5/6, the 5th day of June, the 56th anniversary of his father's assassination. So I just want you to think about that with all this assassination stuff in 68, 56 years ago. MLK, RFK. JFK killed at 63. Obama about to turn 63. Obama, number 44. If you guys got here in the very early days of my work, when I first started, I thought that's what they were going to do to divide the nation was shoot Obama because he was number 44. Like MLK was killed on 4/4. Barack Obama equals 68. Like MLK shot in 68. But again, Malcolm X killed on 44 date numerology. The first president to die in office died on April 4th. Long history of death in 44. But what I noticed when Trump started to run, I said, you know what, you guys, I think I'm wrong about Obama. As soon as Trump started to run, I said, I think I'm wrong about Obama because the next president will be number 45, but the 44th person, and we saw early on why it looked like it was going to be Trump. And then right away there was like the Trump tombstone story. And now you got Joe Biden, whose name in Gematria equals 44, who was the VP. But you got Biden versus Trump. All this divisiveness right now. Again, Trump in the courtroom for the Joker. Trump in this New York courtroom where they filmed the latest Joker. And Trump first appeared in that courtroom last spring on 4/4, on what would have been the 44th birthday of Heath Ledger. Again, 44 is this deadly number. Execution equals 44, shooting 44, kill 44. JFK was the 44th term U.S. president, killed in 63. Obama turned 63. What I started saying once Trump started to rise, I said, I think this is all leading up to some bigger narrative that's further down the road. It remains to be seen how far it is, but I think we're getting here to the moment. And I want to show you something really interesting that happened the year that Osama bin Laden was born. It was the ultimate predictive programming for the JFK assassination on the Andy Griffith Show on Christmas of 61, the year that Kennedy took office. We're going to get to that in a moment. But again, just understand, we are living out a big script. And there's a reason all these actors have been chosen, because they have the right birthdays that line up with all their planned rituals. And that's why, time and time again, things are so perfectly coordinated with Obama, Biden, Trump, etc. The Bushes, George W. Bush throwing out the first pitch of the 119th World Series, and the 119th World Series ends on his 119th day of his age when he used to run the Rangers. Another big fat payday for us. We had the Rangers at the start of the season with 50-1 odds. Again, you learn this knowledge, you see through the script. You sit here and mock what we're doing, you're literally just an irrelevant moron who cannot handle the truth. For 10 years, I've been proving my point, talking about these exact same things over and over, calling out the future before it happens, news, election, sports, over and over. Anyway, look how perfect all this is. Obama's graduated from Columbia 40 years and change ago. This year will be the 41st anniversary. The word Zionist equals 40 and 41. The word protest also equals 40. Protest also equals 76, like Columbia, like Barack Obama. And remember, that 76 goes back to Acts 7:6 about slavery and why Black History Month was recognized by the feds in 76 and why Clarence Thomas better look out because he's about to turn 76. What they just did to OJ is the Masters teed off at 76. What they did to Carl Weathers on the first day of Black History Month. What they did to Hootie and the Blowfish singer the first day of Black History Month. All of these rituals have had to do with 76. What they did with Ben Simmons the other year in the 76ers trade, paying tribute to slavery on the anniversary of Black History Month being recognized by the feds. Obama's movie with all the 76s in it, Leave the World Behind, and then the cell phones being down 76 days after the Netflix premiere and everything else. All of this planned ritual just leading to something real ugly. And again, that's what they need. They always need the real ugly, because when they bring it to the head, the real ugly, that's when they say, oh, here we are to save the day. We're just going to take away your rights and liberties over here. We're going to go fight these bad guys over here with another war. You're going to pay for the whole bill. You're going to follow our rules again. You're going to follow our news media because we're telling you what's really going on. Never the truth. It's just... Anyway. Yeah, if you missed the video from the other week about when Netflix put up this Shirley Chisholm and the parallel with her leaving Congress and being a Columbia, a first black woman. Remember, Kamala Harris took the White House as the first black woman at age 56. Obama won the 56th election. Shirley Chisholm, 56 years ago. Just how all this stuff's coming together right now. Remember, never forget what Gerald Ford said. Gerald Ford said at the Herbert Hoover Library that someday we'll get the first female president because there'll be an old man in office who will die, and there will be a female vice president, and she will become the first female president. If you never watch Gerald Ford answer a little girl's question about how we'll get the first female president, and then again, look into this fact. He did that at the Herbert Hoover Library. Kamala Harris was born on the exact same day that Herbert Hoover died, which is back in 1964, the year of the Civil Rights Act. Same year Michelle Obama was born. So yeah, if you missed the video on Shirley Chisholm, you can go back and check that out, and why they put out that movie on the Ides of March, which is to remember the killing of Caesar, and clearly what's coming. Again, all of these narratives are intersecting. But yes, the Andy Griffith Show, again, the cabal loves to put out predictive programming and entertainment, comedies where people would least expect it. Again, there was an episode that came out Christmas Day 1961. Here's from the little trivia page. Deputy Fife, that's in the Andy Griffith Show, attempts to interrogate a sleeping Otis to ascertain where the moonshine is being distilled. Otis feigns sleep and leads Barney on a wild goose chase north towards Canada and back to the address 411 Elm Street, Mayberry. It is only then that Barney realizes that Otis has said the moonshine is being distilled at Barney's own residence, 411 Elm Street. This address is interesting since 2 years later, President Kennedy would be assassinated by Lee Harvey Oswald, who was firing from the Texas School Book Depository. You think that was predictive programming for all the school shootings to come and the ongoing fear state where everyone submits their rights and liberties? Who was firing from the Texas School Book Depository located at the very address in Dallas, Texas, 411 Elm Street. And remember, in Jewish Gematria, Assassins 411. Christmas and President have that 110 Gematria. But this episode, it came out 144 days from Obama being born. And remember, 144 is the number that connects to all presidential assassinations and deaths. JFK died 144 days from meeting with the Pope. RFK died at 1:44 a.m. Lincoln was shot on 14/4. When you write out April 4th, it equals 144. When you write out 44, it equals 144. 44, 144 are omnipresent in political figures' deaths. And don't forget the Ides of March to remember the killing of Caesars in the year 44 BC. But also, this upcoming election on November 5th, it's 144 days after Trump's birthday. Jesuit Georgetown simulated that Biden would beat Trump in 2020 with the Transition Integrity Project 144 days before the election. Trump posed with the first Jesuit Pope on the 144th day of the year, May 24, 2017. Other things I'm forgetting right now, including JFK's child dying right before his assassination on August 9th, the day leaving 144 days left in the year. 144, death. Jesuit order equates to 144. The United States of America equates to 144. Obama about to turn 63. Of course, they had Obama also born in the 100th year anniversary of the Civil War starting. Began in 1861. Obama from the land of Lincoln. Remember, Lincoln shot at 56 at the end of the war in a Jesuit ritual. John Surratt, the Jesuit, got away. They killed his mother for it. And in another part of me goes, did it even happen? I mean, an actor shot Lincoln in a theater. It's always been political theater. But the one thing you got to give credit to Lincoln for is he said at the beginning of the war he didn't know, but he learned from the people around him, his advisors, that it was the Jesuits who had instigated the Civil War. And the Jesuits were the ones destroying America, just like how certain founders like Jefferson and Adams, who died on the same day, on July 4th, how they warned about what could happen if the Jesuits came out of suppression. The Jesuit suppression was in the time of America being founded. It lasted 41 years, like USA's 41. It ended 144 days after James Madison's birthday. Go figure, that 144. Jesuit Order, United States of America. James Madison, the only 201 president. Another big pattern. Sagittarius is also 144 in light of JFK being killed in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the archer. You know, archers shoot. The Andy Griffith Show has the same gematria as Dealey Plaza. So, yeah, this year, you guys, again, it's the 60th U.S. presidential election. JFK elected in 1960, assassinated. Lincoln elected in 1860, assassinated. In the early days of the Jesuits, there were 60 members in the order. Sean Hannity last night was talking about how all these young people supporting terrorism and the terrorists in Gaza reminds him of the young people, the Hitler Youth that brought the Nazis to power. And again, it's so Orwellian what they're doing. Again, we've been all the 21st century, America's been like the Nazis. Cheering on the killing of brown Muslim people in the Middle East. I mean, that's mostly what's been going on in this nation. It's starting to change a little bit now, right? Now you're starting to see more people sympathize and cheer for the Muslims. I guess this is the changing. But up to this moment, we've been like the Nazis. We've been cheering for the killing of a religious group because of what supposedly happened on 9/11, which we know was a massive lie. Don't forget, Adolf Hitler equals 56, like Society of Jesus, and he also supposedly died at 56, but his body was never found at the end of the war. Go figure. What are the odds of that? One other thing I want to talk about is, again, we covered this at the end of yesterday's live stream. We broke it down in real time. But this young woman who's dead, Eva Evans, TikTok star, who got a film on Amazon Prime, Club Rat. She was announced dead on Sunday, the 112th day of the year, Club Rat's 112. And then we looked at this and we saw she was born on the 201st day of the year. And we saw that from the debut of her show on Amazon, October 3rd, to her death, April 21st, was 201 days later. If you're new here, there's certain numbers that are very special to the Jesuits that come up a lot. 56, as we've talked about. 144, as we talked about. 201, as we've talked about. Again, James Madison, the only 201 president. The Jesuits came out of suppression 144 days after his birthday. The Jesuit orders 201, Jesuit orders 144. As we pointed out, Jeff Bezos, who took over the world in the time of the 56 virus, that was COVID. He was 56 years old at the time. But yeah, 201 days after her Amazon show. And really, all of big tech is Jesuit controlled once you learn the code. You can see through the rituals. You can see through the puppet show. You can see through the Jeff Bezos and the Mark Zuckerbergs and the Bill Gates. But yeah, just a double 201. And, you know, I noticed she was born on the anniversary of the moon landing, this Eva Evans. She was born on the 25th anniversary in 94. Remember, this is an important thing about the Jesuits. In the 16th century, they're established at the end of the 16th century. They're established at the beginning. At the end of the 16th century, you have the calendar given to us by the Jesuit priest Christopher Clavius. You have the language standardized. You have the heliocentric model agreed to that says the sun, which the Catholic Church worships, is at the center of it all. Heliocentrism equals 201, and Helios equals 94. So does Gregorian. That's the calendar we're on. So does Aloysius Lilius, who designed the calendar that was implemented by Christopher Clavius. So does Roman Catholic Church. This 94-201 thing is big. Event 201 was the simulation for the pandemic. Coronavirus pandemic equals 94. 94-201 is a pairing. Seattle, Washington equals 94. William Henry Gates 201, the main co-sponsor of Event 201, who lost his father at 94 in the time of the pandemic and who became a celebrity in 94. After marrying Melinda Gates on the first day of 94, who's from a family of Jesuit priests, Kurt Cobain died 94 days later. Seattle, Washington, 94. Seattle, a Jesuit stronghold. There's 27 Jesuit cities in America. Seattle's one of them. But this young woman, born in 94 on the anniversary of the moon landing, dead 201 days from her premiere. Again, just numbers that get brought together because of how the language is numbers. Helios 94, that's the sun. Heliocentrism 201. Her number was up. Her time was up. Measuring time with the sun. A system put in place. Don't forget, when you run it the other way, coronavirus pandemic's 113. Number of deception from the Talmud, like where we started with all these protests on the 113th day of the year and it being labeled as anti-Semitic in the mainstream media. If you guys are new here, 113 is the number of deception from the Talmud. Even things like mainstream equal 113. And the mainstream is pretty much all deception and mind control and programming. But coronavirus pandemic the other way is 113, and it was declared on 11/3. The World Trade Centers, let's not forget, they opened on the 94th day of the year. The Twin Towers, and then eventually they became Zero Towers, and they became One World Trade Center, 20194. So yeah, there's a number of interesting things in this young woman. She was 29 years old, did a show about New York City, born in Manhattan. Remember, Manhattan equals 29. You remember this story from years ago? The twins, one of them fell down the stairs and died at 29 when the Oculus was a newer thing. The woman in red, they said she was reaching for her hat. She was out with her twin sister and then died where the Twin Towers used to be. She was 29. Seeing that this woman died at 29 and is from Manhattan, and that's where her show was set, I said, isn't it sick? Same stuff over and over. Manhattan, 29. They were, in the story, they were heading back to Kearney, New Jersey. Kearney equals 29. There were a number of things here that stood out about this, but yeah, just another dead woman, 29, Manhattan. Remember, 29 in numerology is 11. Y'all know about the 11s in 9/11. The World Trade Centers look like a big 11. There was nothing you could do. She wasn't going to make it, said a construction worker who had been heading for work at 4 World Trade Center. Again, they got to get in that quote from that guy because 4 is the number of death, and they're always speaking in numbers. Same points over and over for all these years. When's this post from? When was this? February of 2017, over 7 years ago now. And like I've said a million times over the years, I say, until people wake up to what's going on, just the same stuff will continue to repeat because these people are highly repetitive. There's even more to it. Let me see if I just search protest in 113 if Google hasn't deleted all my posts on this subject. Again, I've lost tons of posts from this website because Google now owns it. Remember the white nationalist tiki torch protest in Charlottesville? Hold on, that's not the one I wanted. Tiki torch has the 113 like the protest. March for Our Lives protests. Let's see. Marching for their lives. Not really marching to give up their rights and liberties because they've fallen for the agendas on the TV. March for Our Lives is 113. March for Our Lives, 113. I was hoping, hold on, I'm going to type Chicago in here. I remember them having to, I want to say it was March 11th. It could have been November 3rd. But there was a big protest in Chicago that was a 113 ritual, and they had to cancel something. I can't remember if it was a Bulls game, another sports game. Trump rallies interrupted in Chicago and Kansas City on March 11th for the protests. Had the big fat 144 code on where that happened at Chicago Pavilion. KC, K's the 11th letter, C's the 3rd. 113. But yeah, there's just been so many stories like this over the years. And you just see how they're always putting it together. It's the right day for the ritual. In this case, it was the 113th day of the year, Columbia University 113, protest 113. So, all right. Hey, look at that. We got a super chat. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, King Lemuel Productions. You dropped some gems in this MF. I'm glad you feel that way. I feel like I'm always dropping a lot of gems, but I'm glad you feel that way. You broke the drought. We didn't have any super chats yesterday, but that's okay. In fact, actually, people, the way my Patreon is, if you sign up, your anniversary will, after 1 month, if you don't not click to stay renewed, you'll drop in the middle of the month. Somehow, some way, yesterday's work, we got no donations, and we lost 30 more people on the Patreon. It's like, man, you think the work would be good? You think the movement would always be building? I don't know how 30 people fell off yesterday. Felt like we did pretty good work yesterday, backing up the same points we've always made. The present, the past, connecting the dots. So, anyway, thank you to the people who do support the work. Again, it literally can be very lucrative to support my Patreon. Winning knowledge every day there in the world of rig sports. Again, that's one reason to support the work. The real reason is to support the work so that we can gain resources and have a full-time staff team that can travel and get places and educate, as we've done in the past. Again, if you guys haven't seen us, some of us can speak really well on the street, including yours truly. I don't need any notes. I don't need any sleep. I can go for days. So... yeah, and we can make people stop and listen. We prove that all over the place, from L.A. to New York. So I don't know why there's not way more support. There should be. The world has made a mistake not getting behind yours truly and what we've been doing. There should be way more people here. We should be having a way bigger impact. No one else, and you can say it's arrogant all you want, but no one else has done a better job ever of connecting the dots and exposing who's running the show and how they do it every single day. If I'm wrong about that, you let me know somehow. Leave the comment down there about who's done a better job of connecting the dots and how rigged the game is. By the way, like just for example, the NBA yesterday, Cavs made home teams 9-0. Cavaliers equals 90. Easy call. Home teams are now 9-0 in the playoffs through this game. The Knicks had all kinds of alignment to win yesterday. Notice the 76ers lost with 101 on Passover. We talked about how important Passover was going to be yesterday in the games. You see how Passover's 115 and 101. Of course, it's also 34. Like, Trump pleaded not guilty to his 34 charges on the first day of Passover. But yesterday was the 115th day of LeBron's age. Came in with 101 losses in the playoffs. Did you see how he lost? The Lakers just started playing like shit in the fourth quarter. Reminded me what the Blazers did against the Lakers years ago when they lost the Game 7. Scripted game with Kobe and Shaq with the alley-oop highlight forever. But, Lakers just played like shit in the fourth quarter, gave up their big lead, dumb shots, no teamwork, just isolation ball, dribbling at the top of the key, getting off a shitty shot. The new Allen Iverson NBA brought to Allen Iverson 56, like Society of Jesus, like Washington, D.C., Georgetown product. Allen Iverson with the 7-6 birthday goes and plays for the 76ers. Goes from D.C. to Philly. Historical jokes. But and now they put up the statue of Allen Iverson at the practice facility when he said he can't practice. But anyway, we talked about why it would matter if all three home teams won yesterday to get the home teams to 11-0 on the last day or on the first day of Passover. And the Nuggets win with a buzzer beater with 101 points. The funny thing is we made a huge point about how important 99 was on this game. The Nuggets came in with 99 playoff wins all time. Remember, they just picked that up on the anniversary of the Columbine shooting, which happened in 99 when Columbine High School equals 99, and it happened on the 99th day of the governor being in office. But we knew 99 was going to be a monumental number in this game, so it gets tied at the very end because the Lakers give up the lead 99-99, and then Jamal Murray with the buzzer beater with the 101st points on Passover. Again, you guys want to learn more about this? Again, I can only give away so many gems because some of them I gotta keep for the people who support the work on Patreon. But yeah, these things tell you what's to come. And you got to love the 205 points in Madison Square Garden. There's a reason that's so important, too, with these playoffs, too. And we spotted all this stuff before the playoffs even began, just like we do year after year, which is why we got so many futures nailed. So, New York and Denver went back-to-back. Home teams now 11-0 in the playoffs. And, it's not just the NBA, NHL, things of beauty all over the place. Yesterday, Vegas, great payout, had all kinds of reasons to win the game yesterday. They had all the Passover numbers, the 34 and 47 on their side. Carolina had the 34. And like we said, if the Passover numbers play in the Hurricanes and Golden Knights' favor, then you better bet the Oilers because they got the Passover numbers too. And sure enough, the Oilers win their game, and the score's 4-7 on Passover. So, again, we nail this stuff every day, you guys. Come join us on the Patreon. See how we break it down. News, sports, it's all scripted. It's all rigged. And, again, it's not hard to see who's doing it. They gave us the calendar, the language. Every day, this knowledge tells you what's up. Every single day. They're literally, I shouldn't have to make the point. It should already be happening. There should be 1 million people at least signed up on my Patreon. They'd be benefiting, getting some extra grocery money. We'd have GematriaEffectNews established in every major city. We'd be changing the world. But instead, we got 3,000 people on Patreon because the rest of the world is just that inept. And those are also facts. I mean, that's a testament to how pathetic the world is right now. 3,000 people support my Patreon. 3,000. That's it. For what we've proven in the last 10 years, that is pathetic. That's pathetic. That is pathetic. Again, show me anybody in the last 10 years who's worked harder for freedom in this country and proven more about who's manipulating us as a populace. If these people weren't under such heavy mind control, they would be supporting the work instead of attacking it and trying to go against it, trying to go against what's undeniable. All right, shout out to 33rd Degree Freemason. Appreciate every dollar counts. Every dollar's big. And shout out to Open Up, who's always very generous. And not just Open Up support financially, he calls into the Patreon almost every day with his helpful observations. He said hit the 6-teamer in the MLB yesterday for plus 2470. Again, that's times 247 your money. Or times 24.7, excuse me. Yeah, it is invaluable information. So congrats to you, Open Up. Keep it up. And it was a glorious day yesterday. So we have a lot of glorious days. By the way, another great person to support in the community who has a YouTube page who does the work is Kayla Decode Talker. I got her name up on the screen right here. Support the ladies. Kayla's gotten out and pounded payment on her own with us in Oklahoma City. So shout out to Kayla Decode Talker. Brilliant mind. And again, like I always say, she's got the sweetest voice in the truth community. So it's better than my, I got kind of a nasally voice, but what are you going to do? So Kayla's a lot nicer to listen to. All right, we'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. If you want to join us on the Patreon, stream start every day, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 Eastern. I'm out here on the West Coast, so it's a little bit more than an hour from now. And Until next time, see you there.